My spouse, with whom I shared a matrimonial bond spanning 3 decades, engaged in an extramarital liaison. When I confronted him about his unfaithfulness, his response was devoid of remorse. Rather than taking offense, he asserted his refusal to provide alimony and child support, insinuating that I should independently leave. Yielding to his request, I complied, concealing one crucial detail. I am Taylor, and Michael is my spouse of 30 years. Our 2 children are now in high school. In the early years, Michael was engrossed in his professional pursuits, leaving little room for shared familial memories. Common societal norms at that time dictated minimal paternal involvement in child rearing. Following the birth of our children and subsequent resignation from my job, I assumed the responsibility of raising them single-handedly. With my parents no longer alive, I lacked a support system. Michael, asserting the superiority of earning outside the home, often commented on my seemingly idyllic life as a housewife, playing with the children. Even on his days off, Michael refrained from taking our children to the park or engaging in quality time at home. Fatigue from work became his excuse, and I found myself shouldering the burden of household chores and childcare. If the house was in disarray upon his return, or dinner was not promptly prepared, his displeasure was palpable. When our eldest son, Tyler, fell ill, Michael insisted that childcare was exclusively a mother's responsibility, offering no assistance. During puberty, our children rebelled against their father's detached demeanor, resulting in a period of strained relations. Michael's indifference persisted, leading to a lack of communication. The atmosphere at home became somber. However, as the children entered high school, there was a gradual thaw in their relationship with each other. Despite his perpetual sour mood, Michael now appears more content. His work remains demanding, often requiring overnight stays for business. Yet he seemingly relishes these commitments, hinting at job satisfaction. My vision of a serene retirement after the children's independence and Michael's retirement was shattered recently. While taking Michael's suit to the dry cleaners, I discovered a receipt for a dinner date and a purchase receipt for distinctly feminine items. Reviewing the credit card statement he managed, I uncovered payments for a rendezvous at a hot spring hotel during a supposed business trip. This revelation shattered my illusion of Michael's fulfillment emanating from work. Rather, he derived satisfaction from a clandestine personal life. His recent buoyant mood was attributed to the extramarital affair he was indulging in. Investigating further, I discreetly monitored Michael's behavior, discovering his indiscretions with a woman from a club he frequented. The woman Michael engaged with at the club was older and appeared uneasy in that setting, yet he held a fondness for her, consistently picking her up. Initially a customer, their association transcended the club's boundaries, evolving into a deeper relationship. She quit her club job, and they seemed to nurture their connection beyond the confines of a patron and entertainer. Despite her part-time day job, her extravagant lifestyle, mirroring her club days, raised skepticism about sustaining it solely on her meager earnings. It became apparent that Michael not only financially supported her, but also indulged her with high-end purchases and trips under the guise of business-related travel. Upon confronting Michael with the amassed evidence, he readily admitted his transgressions. Fatigue from work and the need for respite were his justifications. He claimed innocence, asserting that placing his paycheck in the house was innocuous. In a bold attempt to shift blame, he argued that had I created a more restful home, such actions would have been unnecessary. His assertion that my lack of sexual charms and the children's aversion contributed to his infidelity only further strained our conversation. Michael's attempt to brush off responsibility and end the conversation cooled my emotions. I questioned my years of unquestioning devotion to such an individual. Realizing I could no longer coexist with him, I declared my intent to divorce. Michael's grin indicated his readiness to part ways, asserting that divorce was my wish. He gleefully stated his intention not to pay alimony or child support, emphasizing my autonomy in leaving. It appeared that Michael desired to initiate the divorce to embark on a new life with his unfaithful partner. Initiating the divorce himself would require him to pay alimony and child support, making my acquiescence to his terms more convenient for him. I even contemplated whether he deliberately left incriminating evidence in his suit to bring about this revelation. Although reluctant to fulfill Michael's desires, the lack of alternatives compelled me to proceed with the divorce swiftly. Forgoing any financial dispute, I agreed not to seek a penny. Michael, taken aback by my swift concession, shifted into a buoyant mood, commending my understanding nature. He proposed a written contract, ensuring my non-complaint later, in exchange for abandoning any claim on the children. I consented, knowing the children's attachment lay more with me. Michael, displaying his selfish disposition, relinquished his parental rights without hesitation. It became evident that to him, I and the children were mere inconveniences in his pursuit of a life with his unfaithful companion. With Michael, the neglectful figure who had long overlooked family matters, out of the picture, our 30-year marriage concluded effortlessly through divorce. Following eviction from our home by Michael, my children, and I relocated to a downtown apartment. This condo, a part of my parents' estate, had been discreetly placed in my name, providing a reliable source of rental income. Despite the absence of alimony or child support, I sustained a comfortable life with savings from the rental income, effectively supporting my children's college tuition. Post-divorce life was serene and uneventful, a stark contrast to the unpredictability of Michael's moods. About a year later, a surprising phone call from Michael disrupted the tranquility. Evidently informed about our current lifestyle, he questioned the affordability of our apartment, expressing disbelief in my capability as a former housewife. I clarified that the apartment was inherited from my parents, prompting an unexpected fury from Michael. His realization that the condo's hefty rent was, in fact, my income intensified his ire. In the midst of the conversation, Michael contested the notion that the money from the rental income was solely mine, arguing it should be considered joint property. He accused me of not disclosing the financial details and insinuated my contributions towards our living expenses and education were insufficient. I countered by emphasizing our signed contract and his prior refusal to share property, dismissing any claim he might have. Despite Michael's audacious demand for a share of the property, I stood firm, recalling his past assertion that he wouldn't share with me. I expressed my disbelief at his expectation to benefit from the money my parents had left me. The conversation revealed the pettiness of my ex-husband's character, leaving me disheartened. Michael's unexpected contact, however, was not merely an attempt to revisit financial matters. With evident difficulty, he steered the conversation towards a request for money. Having remarried his affair partner, he divulged her penchant for extravagant spending, leading them into substantial debt. I recoiled at the audacity of Michael's plea, disappointed in the continuation of his self-centered tendencies. As our exchange unfolded, I pondered the underlying reasons for his sudden outreach, suspecting it signaled a less than favorable consultation ahead. Upon investigation, it appeared that Michael's financial struggles were more intricate than initially thought. Unaware of the mounting debt, Michael remarried, attempting to use his savings to address the situation. However, his new partner's persistent spending habits thwarted his efforts, resulting in an escalating debt even after exhausting his savings. Desperate for a substantial sum to settle the debt, he caught wind of rumors regarding my luxurious apartment and shamelessly sought a loan from me. I dismissed his request outright. The idea of lending money to alleviate the debts incurred by my ex-husband's affair partner seemed absurd. Moreover, Michael's tone suggested that the woman's extravagant spending habits were unlikely to change, making the prospect of repayment dubious. Then, in a shocking turn, Michael proposed an unthinkable solution, bringing our son, Tyler, into the situation. He suggested that once Tyler secured a job, he could contribute a percentage of his salary to repay the debt. I was incredulous. Could he genuinely expect our child, whom he had neglected for so long, to clean up the financial mess resulting from his affair? Outraged, Michael insisted that Tyler owed him for the favors he had done in raising him. I stood my ground, refusing to entertain such a notion. Michael's audacity to suggest that Tyler should bear the burden of his indiscretions left me astounded. Tyler, already over 18, had the right to choose where and with whom he wanted to live. Michael's desperation led him to propose that Tyler could pay for his own college expenses using scholarships, but I remained steadfast in my decision. I expressed relief that I had not left my children in Michael's care, emphasizing his self-centered nature. When he attempted to appeal to Tyler directly, our son firmly rejected the idea, branding Michael as the worst kind of person to betray his family. I reminded Michael of the contractual agreement not to involve him or Chloe in our affairs, threatening to demand child support and alimony if he persisted. The mention of alimony silenced Michael, and he abruptly hung up the phone. It seemed my children, Tyler and Chloe, had not been swayed by his manipulative attempts. I was relieved that Michael, who had been financially dependent on me, could no longer reach out for assistance. His debts continued to accumulate, with no sign of diminishing, as his income vanished into interest payments, and his spendthrift remarried partner showed no restraint. Although Michael's lack of financial acumen appalled me, I couldn't help but reflect on my own choices during our 30-year marriage. Following this tumultuous episode, my children and I continued our lives in peace, liberated from the burdens of Michael's actions and financial woes. After that tumultuous episode, Michael's presence in my life ceased completely. I found solace in the tranquility of my days. Tyler and Chloe, my children, eventually embarked on their own journeys. They got married, started families, and left the nest. Now, as a grandmother, I revel in the joy of having 4 grandchildren. My life has taken a delightful turn. Tyler, Chloe, and their families often visit me, taking care of me in my solitude. Today, we embark on a family trip, bringing together 9 individuals, Tyler's family, Chloe's family, and myself. The laughter of my grandchildren fills the air, and I savor the warmth of family bonds. Reflecting on the years that have passed, I recognize that parting ways with Michael paved the way for this newfound joy in my old age. Striking out on my own was a pivotal moment that allowed me to bask in the pleasures of family, thanks to the love and care of my children. Recently, I heard that Michael has been wanting to divorce his remarriage partner, but she has not agreed to it. He finds himself tangled in debts, spending his old age without the happiness derived from grandchildren. Despite the pain he caused me, I can't help but feel a twinge of sympathy for him. It's a stark reminder of how a momentary lapse in judgment can lead to a profound separation between happiness and unhappiness. In the end, I am grateful for the peace and contentment that now envelop my life. The decision to part ways with Michael, though challenging, has ultimately allowed me to bask in the joys of family and create cherished memories in my golden years.